It's always a good idea to get to know a little bit more about gym etiquette. If you're a beginner, you haven't stepped in the gym before, maybe you have a few times, it's always a good idea to get to know a little bit more about how to act in a gym. Not only will having this knowledge help you make the gym a better place, but it's also going to help you feel a little more confident, a little more experienced walking into the gym. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Schuyler Diehm. I'm a men's weight loss coach, and we help men get in the best shape of their lives through fasting, mindfulness, and lifting. And today I want to go over some specific gym etiquette tips that I really believe everyone out there should use. Now we're going to go over 7 of these specifically. Some of these are a little more widely known and some of these are a little less, but they make the gym a much better place. And so gym etiquette tip number 1, and this is by far my biggest pet peeve, is put your weights back when you're done with them. I'm talking dumbbells, I'm talking benches, I'm talking yoga mats, I'm talking resistance bands, I'm talking medicine balls, I'm talking easy curl bars. Any equipment has a home in a gym, and you may not know exactly where that home is, but for the most part, when you're done with equipment, put it back where you found it. Right? If you have the dumbbell, put it back in the dumbbell rack. If you have a easy curl bar, put it up against the wall. Put this equipment where it's supposed to go. One of my biggest frustrations is walking into a gym. My gym here is a little bit on the smaller side because it's in my apartment complex, and there's just boxes everywhere. There's dumbbells on the floor, there's bands everywhere, weights are still on the barbell. And the people who leave these things either aren't thinking at all, or they think that they're better than the next person, that the next person should have no problem putting the weights away. Now, if I load 2 45-pound plates on a bar, there may be a chance that the next person who comes in may want to use those 2 45-pound plates, but in the off chance that someone who can't lift that or who doesn't want to do that and is just going to warm up first comes into the gym, it's going to be much easier for them to not have to take that weight off of the bar and put on whatever they need. So I don't care who you are, I don't care what your situation is, when you are done with weights, when you've used them, please put them back. Gym etiquette tip number 2 is wipe down your equipment when you're done with it. Now, almost every single gym should have wet wipes or paper towels in a spray bottle. But whatever gym you go to, if you are leaving sweat on a seat, on a bench, on anything that you can leave sweat on, wipe it down when you're done. If I'm doing bench press and I don't get that sweaty, sometimes I won't wipe the bench down. But usually if I'm putting my bare head up against the bench, if my legs are sweating and I get sweat on a bench or a piece of equipment, I wipe that thing down right after. Again, just think of the other person. How would it feel to walk into the gym, sit down on a piece of equipment, and notice that there's just a ton of gross sweat from someone you've never met before? It's gross. Wiping down your equipment takes probably less than 10 seconds, so please do it. Gym etiquette tip number 3, and I really am a fan of this one, is if someone is using equipment or if you're using equipment, offer to work in. So let's say you walk up to someone who's using a piece of equipment that has a pin in it, so it's very easy to change the weight, or you're walking up to someone who's using basically the same weight you would. Ask them first how many sets they have left, because they may just have 1, in which case you can wait for them. But if they have 2, 3, 4 sets left, just ask, hey, do you mind if I work in between sets? And so what will happen is they'll say yes if they're a good person, they'll do the exercise, then they'll take a break. When they're taking a break, you do the exercise, and you guys will just swap. And on the other end, one of the really good things that you could do is if someone asks you how many sets you have left, offer them to work in, right? Especially if you have 2 or 3 sets, you could say, hey, I've got 2 sets left, but do you want to work in? Simple as that. And so what this does is it allows you guys to create a little bond, to work out a little bit, get a little competitive with each other, but it also allows them to just stay in flow of their workout, or you to stay in flow of your workout, and not feel like you have to wait or rush through your set because you're allowing that person to work in. Same thing goes with equipment. If someone's sitting on equipment and they're just taking it up and they're texting on their phone, one of the least awkward things, the least uncomfortable things you could do is just ask them, hey, how many sets do you have left? When they answer, say, hey, do you mind if I work in? Simple as that. Gym etiquette tip number 4 is don't be over dramatic. Okay, I see this a lot, and of course it depends on the environment, but if you're walking up to a set, there's no need to just yell as loud as you want to. Yes, make some grunts. Yes, there's science in how grunting and yelling can make you lift more weight, but in most situations, you really don't need it. When you get to the bodybuilder top tier level and you're really working hard and you need to motivate yourself, yeah, a grunt or a scream can work, but if you're just benching 135 pounds and you're just trying to, emptily motivate yourself, there's no need to scream. And then the same thing goes for slamming weights. Put your dumbbells down nicely. Drop the barbell nicely. Don't slam it on the floor. Gym etiquette tip number 5 is don't curl in the squat rack. Now, this is kind of the generic rule, but what I would say to make this even more generic is don't use equipment that's not intended for its purposes. Now, for example, in my gym, we have 1 single squat rack and we have 1 barbell. And so when you walk in, if I want to curl with a barbell, I'm going to check if anyone else is in the gym. If someone's using the squat rack or if someone else is in the gym, I'll use that barbell and I'll curl in the squat rack, but I'll also mention to someone like, hey, if you want to use this, let me know. Like, I don't want to be the person curling in the squat rack. So another example of this is, like I said, we have one squat rack in our gym and there's a pull-up bar. And the other day, someone was doing weighted pull-ups on that bar when there's probably 3 or 4 other areas with pull-up bars in the gym. And so this person is now taking up the entire squat rack for someone who wants to do a squat or a deadlift or curling or a shoulder press or anything that uses the barbell, instead of just going to any of the other open areas where they could do those pull-ups. And so it's not a huge deal if you're curling in the squat rack if your gym has 10 squat racks and there's only 2 taken. But of course, be aware, right? Don't just take up equipment because you feel like you own it. Be courteous to the other people in the gym. If the equipment's open and there's an exercise you want to do and you can't do it anywhere else, take it, right? That's yours. You can establish that. But if there's a ton of other options in terms of that specific exercise, you can do it in other places, but taking up the equipment will now take someone else away from their exercise. You should probably rethink where you do that exercise. Gym etiquette tip number 6 is when you are using dumbbells, especially if you're doing something standing up like curling, step away from the dumbbell rack. You know, a lot of people will walk up to the rack, they'll get the heavy weight, they'll either do shrugs or curls or shoulder press or anything with the dumbbell, and they won't step back. And so they'll be in the middle of their set and now someone else walks along and they want to use the dumbbell that the person is standing right in front of. And so it's very, very simple. Pick the dumbbell up, walk a foot or 2 away from the rack, walk somewhere else so that if someone else wants to use another dumbbell on the rack, they can go and do it. And gym etiquette tip number 7, personal hygiene. Wear deodorant. Make sure you smell okay. You know, it can be very tough for someone who's doing a really hard set and who's really deeply breathing, and then the whiff that they get is from your BO. So make sure you're taking care of your body, make sure you're doing that personal hygiene, using deodorant, brushing your teeth, because you don't want to stink up the whole gym. So those are my gym etiquette tips. I spent a while actually thinking about those, but I would love to know in the comments, are there any that I missed? Are there any gym etiquette tips that you would add to this list? And so with that being said, if you are a complete beginner, or maybe you're just starting to get started, or maybe you've just been working on weight loss and fitness for years and you haven't seen the results that you want, check the link in the description of this video because we put together a free guide/training on how we help our clients get incredible results with their body while eating their favorite foods, while not cutting any types of foods out, and honestly just enjoying life, right? Like feeling really good while they do it. So check that out. Of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And as always, make sure to eat smart, move more, sleep deep, and be grateful for this moment. I'll see you in the next video.